With horror movies frightening audiences for decades, what are some of the stories from behind the scenes and how did the movies become what they are?
Your lemon squares taste like ass.
Welcome to my channel, my name is Em, aka Horror, and in today's video I will be counting down 10 random behind the scenes facts from some of the most iconic horror movies. Halloween, 1978. Michael Myers is notably one of the most terrifying horror icons. With his expressionless face and intimidating stature, he has been scaring audiences since the movie's release. With a small budget of $300,000 for the entire production, the task of finding the perfect mask for Michael was given to production designer Tommy Lee Wallace. Wallace put forward a number of masks, including an Emmett Kelly clown mask with the addition of red hair, a mask of US President Richard Nixon, and a mask of Spock. However, the design that was chosen to represent the character was an altered version of a Captain Kirk mask. To take away the appearance of actor William Shatner, whose face was used for the mould, Wallace changed some visual aspects. He widened the eyes, changed the hair by removing the sideburns and giving it a darker, messier appearance, and spray painted the mask with the ghoulish white colour we see in the movie. Upon seeing the mask, the crew agreed that the emotionless version was just what was needed for the creepy appearance of Michael. When learning of the Captain Kirk mask being used for Michael, William Shatner initially thought it was a joke. However, when he finally saw the mask, he recognised it straight away as being the mould of the death mask they made of him whilst filming for the Star Trek series. Final Destination, 2000. Final Destination heightened aerophobia for many. The movie follows should-be passengers of Flight 180 travelling from New York to Paris. When boarding, a teenage boy named Alex has a premonition that the flight is going to crash and kill everyone on board. Spooked by this, he disembarks the plane with some members of his class following suit due to Alex's freakout. What started as a vision becomes reality when not long after taking off, the flight does indeed crash, killing all remaining passengers. This leaves the survivors in a situation where one by one they are dying mysteriously, as you can't outsmart death. Now a well-loved movie in the horror genre, the story was originally never set to be told in this way. The screenwriter behind the movie, Jeffrey Reddick, initially wrote a version of the script for the show The X-Files. However, he abandoned this idea and never put it forward. 6 years later, his script was finally put into action when he made some tweaks, changed the characters and added the aspect of cheating death, turning it into the franchise we know today. Candyman, 1992. If you dare to look into a mirror and say his name 5 times, legend has it he will appear. Candyman is easily one of the creepiest horror movies of the 90s, and what makes it even creepier are the practical effects used to maximise the terror. In a scene where we see the title character leaning down to kiss his co-star, we see swarms of bees flying out of his body, including his mouth. The bees in this scene were real, and the actor who played Candyman, Tony Todd, wore a special protective mouthpiece for the bees to be placed. Todd fully embraced the scene and negotiated that he would get a $1,000 bonus for each sting that he may get as a result of the effect. This negotiation paid off as he was stung 23 times. Todd later commented that everything that's worth making has to involve some sort of pain. Saw, 2004. The ending of the original entry in the Saw franchise had one of the biggest twists in the series. The dead body we see on the floor throughout the movie ends up being alive and gets up from the pool of blood he's laying in, revealing he is the mastermind behind the events, Jigsaw. Tobin Bell, who played the role of John Kramer, aka Jigsaw, actually had to lay down in the fake blood for the entirety of the shoot. The movie only took 18 days to film, and in each bathroom scene, Bell would have to repeat laying in the same position. He had since commented how uncomfortable it was to remain lying still in the fake blood, which he said was sticky and cold. Although it may have been uncomfortable, the scene remains effective and shocking 20 years later. Poltergeist, 1982. Steven Spielberg's Poltergeist is set in a family home where evil spirits taunt and haunt the family. In one scene, the mother of the family falls into their pool where skeletons appear from muddy water surrounding the character. The real horror behind this scene, however, is that the skeletons used were real. Due to cost effectiveness, this route was chosen and it certainly adds something eerie to the scene. The actress who played the mother, Jo Beth Williams, supposedly did not know that the skeletons were real until after the scene had been filmed. Rosemary's Baby, 1968. If the storyline of Rosemary's Baby is not horrifying enough, what director Roman Polanski put Mia Farrow through during filming would cause anyone severe mental stress. In the movie, we follow Rosemary, a pregnant woman who is being groomed by a satanic cult whose aim is to use her baby for their rituals. There is a scene in the film where we see a pregnant Rosemary walking across a busy road with cars honking their horns and abruptly braking. The fact that this traffic was real and the reactions of all involved, including the drivers of the vehicles, were genuine, makes the scene even more nerve-wracking to watch. Polanski reassured the 21-year-old actress that no one would hit a pregnant woman, and this scene certainly proved the director right at the time. Another situation Polanski reportedly put Mia Farrow through was making her eat raw chicken liver numerous times throughout a scene, which is enough to turn anyone's stomach, let alone a vegetarian as Farrow was. Regardless of the questionable choices made during the filming, one thing is for certain, which is that Rosemary's Baby ended up being one of the most timeless, successful horror movies to date. Misery, 1990. Stephen King's novel Misery is one of many of his that has been adapted for the big screen. The film is centred around an author, Paul Sheldon, who gets into a car accident where he is then helped by a woman named Annie, who turns out to be his #1 fan. Things quickly take an alarming turn when her obsession with him becomes toxic and she keeps him prisoner in her own home. After a desperate attempt to escape, Annie violently breaks Paul's ankles by hitting them repeatedly with a sledgehammer. Kathy Bates, who played Annie, found this scene particularly difficult and draining to film. The scene was filmed repeatedly for an entire day, with Bates continuously hitting prosthetic legs over and over, making the actress emotionally and physically drained, causing her to break down in tears. The Blair Witch Project, 1999. When the Blair Witch Project was initially released, many thought that the events they were watching were real. This is due to the way the movie was filmed like a home movie and with the portrayals of the characters being raw and genuine. The director of the film pushed as many boundaries as he possibly could when it came to the filming. Even in its pre-production stage, the Blair Witch Project was planned to put the cast through as much mental strain and stress as it possibly could, advertising the roles as extremely challenging and noting that they would be filming under difficult conditions. Filming took place over an 8-day period and a lot of attention to detail was put into every aspect. The real feeling that the audience felt was due to this attention to detail. The actors were put through a lot of strain, sleeping in tents in the middle of the woods with food portions becoming smaller and smaller, putting them into an uncomfortable state. They were not given a script, so all of the lines were improvised and only key points were provided to them with a GPS to get to the locations needed. The crew covered themselves in camouflage to hide from the actors, leaving them feeling more isolated and alone. The emotions and anxiety you see portrayed in the movie are all real, which leaves the audience feeling unnerved. The safety of the cast was never put at risk, however, with producer Greg Hale telling the cast that your safety is our primary concern, but your comfort is not. The Shining, 1980. One of the most iconic scenes from The Shining is where Jack Nicholson's character, Jack Torrance, smashed through a bathroom door with an axe. Before Nicholson became an actor, he volunteered as a firefighter, so this act came easily to him and he managed to smash through a prop door surprisingly quickly. To give the scene a bit more of a realistic take, the prop door had to be replaced with a real door to give more resistance before the actor could smash through and say his famous line. Friday the 13th, 1980. Before there was Jason, there was Mrs. Voorhees, brought to life by Betsy Palmer. However, we could have seen a very different version of the original killer, as Palmer almost did not take the part. When she initially read the script, she threw it away, thinking it was rubbish and a waste of time. She soon changed her mind when she was having car trouble and needed money to help with the issue. The part since grew on her and she ended up doing conventions and events. Ironically, a part she thought was not going to be worth it ended up being the role she was most recognised for, earning her a large fan base in the horror community. The part of Mrs. Voorhees also inspired the music to the movie. The line "Kill her, mommy, kill her" inspired the famous whispering sounds we hear, as Harry Manfredini felt this line stood out as being creepy, indicating the mental state of Mrs. Voorhees and the voices she hears in her head. So as always, what do you guys think? Let me know any random horror movie facts that you might know down in the comments section. Thank you so much for watching. If you have enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. I will be uploading more content like this. You can check out my other content here. With all that being said, I will see you in the next video.